I'm Tamika D. Mallory.
And it's your boy Mysonne the General.
We are your host of TMI.
Tamika and Mysonne's information, truth, motivation, and inspiration.
New name, new energy, but
same old us.
What's going on, Mysonne Lennon?
I am blessed, black, and highly favored. Tamika D. Mallory. How are you doing today?
I am doing just fine. This is going to be maybe kind of like a holiday week for me. I am in the great state of Tennessee with the people, the Memphians, I think is what they call them. And all I want to do is eat, which is my problem in life, is food. Mm-hmm.
I'm actually hungry right now. I haven't really ate much. But yeah, Memphis does have good food.
It's too good. And that's all I want to do is eat. So I thought that I booked my hotel. I came to check on a loved one who fell ill. And I thought that I booked my hotel right next to this restaurant that I love. But obviously, this is a different hotel from the one that I stayed at before. And so when I went to go eat, because I was so excited after I left the hospital, I found out that I was 20 minutes away from where the restaurant is located. And I was literally devastated that I had to eat the hotel food, which is basically the same menu. As we always say, every single hotel just takes a carbon copy of the menu of the other hotels, and that's it. So I was pretty devastated, but it won't catch me today. I bet you that.
You're gonna get them 20 minutes. You're gonna hike on out there and get that food, huh?
I gotta go there first. I have a whole plan, a whole schedule. But anyway, I don't understand. Last night, while we were talking to the public advocate of New York City on the telephone, and the two of you were talking about what happened with the Knicks game. After, first of all, he called to talk to us about some really serious stuff in New York City politics. But then somehow the conversation turned into both of y'all needing life support and needing he had to put on his jersey, his good luck chain, something else, bring out the Bible and everything about these Knicks games. I don't understand why y'all put yourselves through this. Y'all already know what the Knicks do. Y'all already know. So if they win, great. If they lose, it's okay, because that's what they do sometimes.
The thing is, when you're a New Yorker, like, I'm not even gonna lie, I had stopped being a Knicks fan, right? Because the heartache. Like, I stopped being a Knicks fan ever since ever since Melo left. Like, I'm like, you know what? Y'all got Melo's not on the team no more. I'm not with the Knicks. But when you a New Yorker, you're a Knick at heart. So watching them play, watching Jalen Brunson and watching how he plays, like, he plays the game the way I was taught to play. He has that fire. He's brought something back to the Garden. So since my team, who was, the Dallas Mavericks, Kyrie's not playing, all this, I just started watching the Knicks, and I just started growing like, oh, here we go again. I'm back into this Knicks frenzy. So watching them play and watching it, and then seeing that it's like they got to be down 20-something for them to come back and play. And it's just like, it's heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking. Just watch them, and you from New York, and you see that energy. Like, when you watching the news and you walk downtown, like during my birthday, the whole city was full of everybody going to the Knicks game. The whole city was just, everybody was outside. And that energy, if you just from New York, you love to see that energy. So that's what it is. They grabbed me back in with the energy. I'm feeling it. I like the chemistry of the team. But when they start losing, or they lose games, like they lost a game up by 15 with 2 minutes left in the game, like, how the fuck does that happen? Like, it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense for the Knicks, and we just got to deal with it as being New Yorkers.
That's it. I don't even know. I'm like, what is the problem? Y'all already know what happens. That's why I can't be invested in it, because I already know. First of all, I'm not really that into sports, although I used to go to the Knicks game almost every game. So I completely understand the love that we have for the team, for the New York culture, for, the whole thing. Absolutely. However, once we decided to give up the Knicks season tickets, we didn't pick up the Brooklyn Nets because it's too much stress. Like you physically get stressed out, people screaming and throwing things. I'm like, what in the world? But y'all love it. So hey, I mean, y'all
I
put
just love the sport, and I love when you see teams play hard. You know, this year New York actually has a team that has the
that's true.
capabilities to win. If you know if everybody's playing the way they're supposed to, they actually can win. So you know, we just gotta
Well,
see what happens, man.
well, I'm here for it, but Lord bless you. I was listening to the two of you like I couldn't even jump in to say, well, yeah, I felt because y'all was talking about life support machines. I mean, it was I'm like, and
It was
Jamani
tough.
is a Nick fan to the blood. Like he is
Oh no, he's
literally
a fanatic.
his life.
Like it's not just a fan; he's a fanatic.
But anyway, that brings me to my thought of the day. My thought of the day is really buried in a question. I want to know why we as a people do not listen to other people's experiences with corporations and allow it to be a warning, like a telltale sign that we should start to step away, back up, don't go into these places. Now, someone told me that it is possible that that you think people know and they don't know. So just because an incident happened, it doesn't mean that everyone else knows about it. But I know people who will say, well, that didn't happen to me in that place, that restaurant, that airline, that whatever. And so therefore, since it didn't happen to me, I don't see it as being, so much of a problem, and I'm still going to go over there, or I'm still going to be a part of it. I think a part of the issue is that people don't necessarily value the way in which our society, in terms of corporations, like how they treat some Black folks. And I think that we feel like as long as it doesn't happen to us, it's just that person. It's just those people. They did something. So the reason why I bring this up is because I've been told that a number of Waffle House employees, it started in Georgia, but it is now spreading to different places across the country. They are on strike. And the reason why they're on strike is because they say it's unsafe. The conditions are, not, again, safe for employees. There have been issues where police have been called to deal with incidents, and it takes 20 minutes or more for the police officers to show up. They say that the conditions that they're working in are hazardous, they're mistreated, and therefore these people are now striking. And it's been going on for a while. In fact, I want to read because they're working with a labor union, which is the Union of Southern Service Workers. So the Union of Southern Service Workers have come together with these people, these employees, which are mainly, of course, Black and brown folks, and they are supporting them in their strike against Waffle House. Now, we told folks long time ago in the, I think, spring of 2018, Shakisha Clemens was abused in a Waffle House in Saraland, Alabama, because a white employee attempted to force her to pay for a plastic spoon and fork, right? And whatever plastic utensils. This particular employee asked her to pay. Shakisha says, "What are you talking about? I don't want the silverware. I want plastic," which I do all the time. And there is no place ever, not even in the places where I feel kind of like they were a little rude, and never ever in the history of ever have I been asked to pay for plastic silverware if I did not want to, or plastic utensils if I did not want to use the silverware on the table. This employee starts telling her it's XYZ cents per piece, da 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 da. They get into it. The next thing you know, the woman calls the police on Shakisha Clemens. And when the police get there, they derobe, abuse, attack, humiliate, and again, abuse this woman. Now, you all know this story because every now and then we have to bring it up. We have to talk about it in order for people to be reminded of the sincerity, severity of what took place that day to Shakisha Clemens, which she still has not all the way recovered from. And she was, they said that she was resisting arrest and then came back, arrested her, and charged her. Okay, this is how severe this situation was. We told people, let's just shut Waffle House down. Because first of all, it is not treating, and this was all the stuff that we said, they are not treating their employees properly. When we went to Waffle House to get a statement from them and to get them to say that what took place in that restaurant was wrong, because first of all, they do not charge. We know now the policy that they do not charge for plastic utensils. So that's number one. Number two, they knew that what took place in that restaurant, their employee was the cause of how Shakisha Clemens ended up being abused by Saraland police. They knew that. They understood the connection, but they refused to speak against the police. They refused to say anything that would make them even just have some sympathy and compassion towards this young woman for what she went through. I'm not even talking about a money grab. I'm talking about just people saying, you could at least say, we're sorry that this happened. They were stone cold no. I'm not talking about, oh, they could say, oh, she just wanted some money from us, or people out here, because you know how we do, even though she would have been justly due the type of settlement from Waffle House that would have provided for her family for a long time. Why? Because her children, which she now has 3 children, and her daughter was in the mix of this and saw this experience of her mother's body exposed, and she's down on the floor with 2 white police officers on top of her body and smashing her head down to the ground of a Waffle House restaurant, a nasty, filthy, dirty Waffle House restaurant. She was humiliated and everything else you could think of, and her oldest daughter knows it because she lived through it, and now her other 2 children will have to experience it. So y'all will say money grab. I'm saying she was due. And I think whatever the settlement ended up being, it was so small that Ben Crump, her attorney at the time, was just like, take your resources and go. You know, they did all they could. They fought for years and years and years and years. The local attorneys, the national attorneys, the organizations that was out there. And Shakisha Clemens was never, ever, ever, ever truly made good. There was no justice for her. So what I just asked myself is, as a thought of the day, why in the world would people not say, okay, we already know from going in Waffle House that this place is basically a shithole country. Like, if you want to name something shithole, it would be the Waffle House, right? They mistreat their employees. They, they don't in any way act like they're trying to provide a safe environment for employees and or the customers that are coming there. The food is no good. It is unhealthy. It is greasy. It is dirty. Everything else you could think of. And they have the audacity to abuse this young woman who was doing absolutely nothing. I don't understand with us why Waffle House just becomes, bam, off the list. That's a place we're not going. It's not like, oh, the employees that are working there, they're making so much money that it's going to interrupt their lives. That's actually not the case. And now you see the employees are striking because they are saying, we don't feel safe. We're not in an environment that is healthy for us. So I just don't understand why we didn't end Waffle House some time ago, because it just felt like Shakisha Clemens wasn't a good enough victim for us to say, this is the end of my support for Waffle House.
Well, that's pretty much what it is. People don't identify with certain individuals, right? It's certain, they see well, that's not my experience, like you said, and they do that to our own detriment, right? When we don't look at, it's like they says, a wise man learns from somebody else's mistakes. A smart man learns from his own. So we don't deal with wisdom. We want to go through it ourselves, or we want to see what our experience is. And by the time it's your experience, it might be way worse. You know, you might lose your life inside a Waffle House, you know, because we didn't look at the signs, we didn't take the advice, we didn't look and say, damn, that was just wrong. So in order for us to make things right, we have to sacrifice. And a lot of people don't want to sacrifice. I've heard people say, well, not my Waffle House. My Waffle House is different. I go to my Waffle House at any time in the morning. It's convenient. It's killing you. It's all the things like we have embraced our own detriment, our own demise. We embrace everything. We want to eat the food that's killing us. We're going to make sure we go to McDonald's. We're going to make sure we go to every fast food restaurant we can. And we're going to keep eating the same food. We're going to eat from the places that don't respect us. We're going to do the shit that violate us. It's like, it's some people that's still going to Target. Shout out to Jamal Bryant. I just watched a video where they were praying outside of the Target, continuing the boycott. You know, we're still on target with the boycott. And that's what it's going to take in this moment. It's going to take us to be on the same page, to look at situations and say, you know, it's not nothing is worth the disrespect, right? It's nothing that I don't need to spend my money with people who don't respect me. I do not need to go to stores where people don't see the value of Black people inside their stores, right? So, and we have to get to that stage, you know. So when you talk about what's going on in Waffle House, yeah, we've been telling people, but all the time, you know, people have to see on their own. And hopefully this situation, along coupled with what happened to Shakisha Clemens, it actually brings people to awareness about, you know what, first of all, Waffle House ain't even good for us. Now they ain't good to us. Right. So when we know they're not good for us, ain't good to us, then we don't need them at all. So hopefully, you know, this garners the level of attention and gets the traction to people start saying, I don't need Waffle House. And then what it would do is not only make Waffle House step up as the way they treat us, right? Then maybe they start serving us some food that's actually healthy, right? We should really, like, we should be boycotting all of these restaurants because this shit is literally killing us. You know, I don't know why the fuck we're doing it.
I'm not going to sit here and say all of them because I know that after a night where I may come from hanging out or whatever, a good greasy cheeseburger might be just what I need to get me through the night.
It ain't what you need, it's what you want. But it ain't what you need. That shit might be killing you.
You're
it's
right.
Gonna stay in your arteries, clog them up.
You're 100% right. And so because I want to not be hypocritical, number one, and two, also to make sure that I'm acknowledging the needs of the people. So that's why when folks say boycott Walmart, Target, Amazon, this, that, and all those things, I know that that's not realistic because folks are going to be left feeling like they have no options for where they can go. So this is why we try to zero in on a particular thing. You know, the Montgomery bus boycott was the bus boycott. They focused on one thing and they shut the system down. And then those people had to come back. The leadership of the bus system had to come back and say, okay, let's renegotiate the terms. And it is the same in this particular moment where Target, these people now, when you talked about Pastor Jamal Bryant and Pastor Kerry Bryant, and they were outside of a Target in Georgia, but there were people in 50 locations around the country outside of Targets praying down, saying that, and I love that Kerry Bryant, her particular prayer was that we want to cast out racism and oppression and division and all those things that are keeping our country separated and divided, but also things that are suppressing us and suppressing our rights. And I'm just saying that Shakisha Clemens, for me, became our little sister because we saw ourselves in her immediately. When I saw her down on that ground, and I know how much for me, not just being a germaphobe, but just the lack of respect in general, the way these men seem like they were just getting off on having this Black woman slammed down to the ground over some plastic utensils and some words that went back and forth. The police were not able to come into, that's because they don't have respect for people that are inside the Waffle House. They don't give a damn. They already don't care nothing about us when we on the street. We could be in a Ritz-Carlton, and if they want to, they'll come in with some of that behavior. But there is a company standard where the Ritz-Carlton might have the type of posture that if something happens with an employee and a resident, a hotel guest, when you approach, let's try to de-escalate, because they don't want the environment to turn chaotic, for people to feel unsafe and to feel like if a police officer has to come in here, this is the way how far it escalates versus being de-escalated. That's a company policy. But the company policy of Waffle House is all bets are off. Just come in, throw people down, do whatever you want, because some white woman called from behind the desk to say, I don't even know what she said, which was probably a lie because we watched all the videotapes. That is outrageous to me. The company was responsible, but we as Black people should have said, you won't catch me in another Waffle House. And the sad part about it is that celebrities who knew about the situation continue to go into Waffle House and was posting about it as if it was cool. We have a problem saying we're going to stand together on something where we see that there's clearly been an abuse of power, mistreatment of our people, and we're going to actually do something about this. That is something that we have to work on, because we cannot call on or demand respect from anybody if we do not ensure that we respect ourselves enough to see someone like Shakisha Clemens as being our own dear sister. So I just pray that people who maybe now, Shakisha Clemens was not the ideal victim for some of y'all. She was for us, but for some of y'all didn't see her as being an ideal abused individual within the Waffle House space. Well, maybe now that the employees around the country, and particularly in Georgia, are saying that they are also unsafe, and now they are uniting with a union, the Union for Southern Service Workers, perhaps at this point, you will see these workers as being important enough for you to say, I'm staying away from Waffle House, and I will not cross the picket line and go into a business that I know for too many years has not respected our people, and they also don't respect our health.
Well, that's the hope we have. Hopefully, this is the proper, time. And like I said, coupled with what happened to Shakisha Clemens, if you look at both of these things, hopefully people will wake up and realize that, Waffle House ain't it.
All right, so let's go on to the TMI. So Little Mo released a video where she's talking about how she's paying for expedited shipping and finding out that, a lot of companies are not even sending they don't even, please, they just take the expedited shipping and probably still send it regular shipping, or they expedite it when they get around to it. So you ask for expedited shipping today, thinking that maybe within a day or two, your product is at least going to go out to you and you'll receive it in a reasonable time. But a lot of times, these companies will say, well, it'll take them 5, 6, 7 days to get to the point that they expedite shipping it. And she was saying that it's a problem because, she's noticing that this is happening with many different companies. And I was just thinking, for the TMI, some people might say, well, hey, they're getting to it when they can get to it. Give them a break, right? Like that we, the people who expect good customer service, we're doing too much. But there are other people who will understand where I'm coming from in this, and to say that whether it be, and I definitely have this issue with many small businesses and Black businesses, but in general, a lot of businesses just don't do business. They do, my business is my side hobby. My business is not the main thing that I know I need to be on top of, getting my products and services out, responding to emails, questions, inquiries. I have at least 4 companies that I promise I'm going to put them online in the next couple of days, because I've had to email these companies back and forth, and no answer or no resolution to what I'm asking for. All the things are out of the stores. You go to the stores, you can hardly find anything. So now we've been forced to do online shopping, and with our money, people just treat you any kind of way. But I'm telling you that there are people out there who will listen to Little Mo, who is now saying, I can't take it anymore. I'm spending money and not getting the service. People like me who complain about the customer service, and they will say, we are the ones that are doing too much. So we open up the floor for anybody else to let us know, do you think we're doing too much? Or should we have a standard, even for small businesses, that says, if you take our money, we expect the product to be right, the quality to be right, the picture and the quality to be the same, okay? Hello? That if we need to return it or we have an issue and we email you, we want you to get back to us. Are we being too much? Or should there be a standard for any kind of business that is operated? Or should we all just sit back and say, oh, well, it's a small business, or, we should just kind of allow things to be loose with our money because, hey, we're all just trying to figure it out.
I think people should expect their products to be properly delivered in the time and the fashion that it's supposed to be delivered. If you pay for overnight, your product should get to you overnight. If you pay for a product, it should look like the product that you paid for. It shouldn't be like the Temu version of everything. That's like the going joke. Temu, you see some shit in Temu and you be watching, you be, oh, this is fire. It's only $20. Put my little $20 and you get a shirt and the shirt be like somebody that ironed it on. You know what I'm saying? I remember I ordered I forgot what it was. It was a thing that looked like it was a big cassette tape. And it was like a thing that was supposed to stand in the living room. And I ordered it. They sent me it was like a pillowcase with some foam shit. It didn't look nothing like what I ordered. I was like, oh, I thought I'm gonna have me a little dope thing for my living room. Shit was trash. So like nobody should be spending their money.
Because you're crazy. You order stuff from places you already know
from
them.
Temu. I didn't know Temu was that bad.
Wow.
I didn't know it was that bad.
If it's $20 and it looks good, it looks too good to be true, it's too good to be true.
Like I ordered 2 more things from off of Temu, no, not Temu, but I think Amazon, some shit. I ordered 2 things that never even came. And I'm like, where are they? One of them was a drive that's supposed to hold a bunch of information because I got overloaded on my phone and on my computer. So I'm like, I want to put my shit in my drive. I ordered this shit 2 months ago. I ain't never seen it yet. I ordered a new thing for my phone. They had this shit that looked crazy, that it turns around, the phone can sit inside it or inside your car, and it like grips on the thing. I'm like, oh, this shit is dope because I need that to adjust like when I'm doing my videos in my car. It still ain't come. It's like I done spent 50, 20, 30, all types of that. They done got over with me. I know it's about like good $300-400 worth of my money that's in these companies that never sent me the product. And I'd be forgetting, I'm telling you, and I'd be forgetting that I did. I'm like, I know I ordered this. Why the fuck this shit ain't come? Where is it at? And then I'd be trying to go look back for it, and I can't find it. But in my mind, I know I paid for stuff. So yes, it is a big problem. These people are running scams. They're either selling you some shit that they don't have, that they give you a version of it, and then it's the Play-Doh version that the kids made, and they send it to you, or they telling you paying for extra shipping, and the shit is coming the same day that it would come if it was regular shipping. So yes, man, we got to do better. We have to do better as consumers in demand. Like every time shit like that happens, we have to call it out. We got to call out the place it happens to, because if we just taking the L and we quiet about it, other people don't know. And by the time they done made $1 million just jerking all of us, because that's how they do it. They do it penny by penny, right? Because you like, oh, it's only $20. I ain't gonna say nothing. But if you get 1,000 niggas to send you $20 and they all get jerked out of it, this is how they get over, because you think it's a little bit of money. They say, oh, it's only a little bit of money. And the average person is not going to go to consumer affairs and say, yo, my $20 did get here. So we all every time we taking those losses, we got to complain. Because we got to make sure that these people are held accountable.
I order stuff and it doesn't come. And then, but see me, I'm starting to write. I got a little log. I write the name down. That's what I'm talking about. It's 4 companies that's on my list. In fact, one of them did email me back this morning. And by the way, the stuff is not cheap. Okay. I'm just to be clear, I know not to buy things for $20 because I already know what's going to happen. But these things are not cheap. I have a $400 order of some stuff that I am expecting to come from a particular place. And these people have not responded to me about why it's now over a month and I haven't received it. Like, this is ridiculous. And then it makes you say, well, I'm not going to buy these things online. But then the reality is that when you go to the stores, you can't even find certain things. So I'm just like, no, we're going to have a process for exposing brands, companies, and whatever else that are, are scamming our people. Because no, it's just too much. Like, don't get the money from me and then go try to make the product. No, sir. That wasn't the deal that we made when I clicked purchase. So I don't know what y'all think.
I agree. We previously taped this interview with friend of the show, Dr. Robert Singleton, and we talked about aging and the process and the health issues and things that come along with aging. It's a very good interview. I want you to check it out now.
All right, so we've got a friend that's back to the TMI show.
Yes.
I think the first time Dr. Singleton was on with us, we were street politicians, but we have rebranded for those of you who are out there listening. Street Politicians was our baby that we started a long time ago, but we continue, and we're not just here for longevity, but we're actually better. So you think we better, Mr. Lennon?
I think we always been better.
We're better. We're better.
We better than better.
But the best of us is Dr. Robert Singleton II. He is a board certified anesthesiologist practicing just outside of Chicago, Illinois. A proud Howard University College of Medicine graduate, Dr. Singleton brings nearly a decade of experience in general anesthesia across multiple specialties, including surgery, obstetrics, gynecology, and urology. And there's a whole bunch of other things that this black man, this black doctor is an expert at. And I think one of the reasons why we wanted you to come on today, Dr. Singleton, is to talk about aging. Because as we're getting older, we see different things. And you are the TMI show doctor in residence. So.
Yes, because we old. Because we old, man.
We are happy to have you back with us. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me back. I appreciate it.
So the last several weeks, we noticed, well, it's been going on for longer than that for me, that, when we come on the show or when we're just talking to folks, especially people over 40, my son just celebrated a birthday, which he doesn't seem to be telling many people how old he is, but he's definitely over 40 and he's definitely older than me. And I'm about to turn 45. So, so there's all of that.
Come on now.
But we noticed that we find ourselves saying, oh my God, this hurts. This is different. This feels different. What is that thought? What is this muscle? Why can't I sleep properly? All these things are happening. And it occurred to us that aging is a real thing that no one prepares you for. We barely have the right conversations about aging and what can help you not so much slow down the process, because certainly life is moving quickly and we age quickly, but you can at least try to maintain yourself and have certain practices and certain regimens that help to keep you here longer and stronger. And so that's what we wanted to talk about today, is just your experience as you look at your clients or your patients with aging, and especially for Black men. What are some of the things that we need to be looking out for in order for them to stay around a little bit longer than the life expectancy?
Most definitely. I think that, I'm glad that you guys are talking about aging. I just joined the 40 Club as well. I turned 40 in April. Okay. And it's good that we are talking about aging amongst each other, amongst our friends, but I feel like the most important thing is who we're talking to, and that is our primary care doctors. It's important to establish a primary care physician that we can go to get the appropriate screenings based on our age, based on our family history, so that we can not only enjoy a long lifespan, but have a good quality of life as well. So establishing primary care is so important for so many reasons.
Yeah, it really is. I just got my physical this year. I had a clean bill of health. What screenings after about 45 should, especially Black men, be intentional about focusing on? Because we notice after that, a lot of us cancer, diabetes, all these things that we don't pay attention to, because we really don't like to go to the doctor. I hate going to the doctor. I hate to the anxiety of I get anxiety. I was on a train. I was going to an event, and one of my friends, he was going to do his colonoscopy. He's with his girl, and he was just nervous. He was like, I'm on my way to my colonoscopy. And I had that feeling. I know that feeling. A lot of black men go through it. So what should we be focusing on? What are the tests we should be focusing on? How often should we be doing it? Like,
Yeah, so I mean, the tests that we need, the screening tests that we need depend on a lot of different factors. I just posted yesterday, or President Biden's team just shared yesterday that he's been diagnosed with prostate cancer. And I had a lot of people asking me, at what age should I be getting my prostate checked? At what age should I be having my PSA levels checked? And it really varies for the average person, for the average man. You should start the screening process at age 50. But for us as Black men, it's earlier than that. Black men need to have their prostate screening starting at age 45. If you have a first-degree relative, meaning a father or a brother who was diagnosed with prostate cancer before the age of 65, then you need to have a screening done sooner than that. So there's so many different variables, and also the screening guidelines change with time. There was a time where colonoscopies were not recommended until you turn 50. That changed a few years ago to 45. And for some people, they may need a colonoscopy at an even younger age. And so really, it's important to have a primary care doctor who can guide you and who can help you with knowing what screenings to take, what immunizations to take. And so having that primary care doctor is important for that reason.
Besides, I just want
please.
Besides that, what other things are Black men more susceptible to than everyone else?
You know, we Black people, we are more susceptible to things like diabetes, high blood pressure, and even, like prostate cancer, many types of cancers. Black men and Black women, a lot of times Black women, when you look at breast cancer, Black women are being diagnosed at later stages, whereas had they been screened and diagnosed at earlier stages, the treatments and the outcomes are better. So there are a lot of discrepancies between how the average American fares with different health issues compared to Blacks. And that's something that, we have to educate our communities about, the importance of taking control of our health, because we really do have a lot more control over our health than we realize.
Control of it's meaning what we eat, the amount of rest we're getting or not, and things. What else would you say are some of the controlling factors?
Yeah, so the big ones, like you mentioned, are diet, exercise. It's so important to not smoke. As an anesthesia doctor, I see so many patients, probably 10 to 20 patients every day. And what's remarkable is that people age differently. 40 does not look the same on everybody. 60 does not look the same on everybody. And a lot of the difference that you see is people's lifestyle habits, alcohol, smoking, your diet. Those all play a factor into not only how you look physically, but what diseases you develop.
Wow. Alcohol and smoking. I'm like, people still smoke cigarettes, which is very interesting to me, because it just felt like cigarettes fell off the map. But I still see a lot of people who smoke cigarettes and they're not giving it up. And that's just it. Doesn't matter what you say to them. They're just not going to give up their cigarettes.
It's very, very addictive. And now you see younger people, they kind of have transitioned from smoking cigarettes to now vaping. And vaping still has a lot of similar health problems as far as and issues that we haven't even researched, because it hasn't been around as long as cigarette smoking has. So we're kind of trading one bad habit for another.
Wow. So does it have nicotine? No.
So I am vaping. You can vape different ways. I think that some forms of vaping do, some don't. But I believe that sometimes vaping can involve nicotine. It can be addictive.
Wow. Oh, I didn't know vaping was addictive. I thought it was kind of like, just, I don't know. Okay.
Well,
I don't vape, so I don't know.
Listen, my brother was smoking hookah all day, every day. So it had to be some level of addiction to, like, I would just walk in and be like, bro, you smoking hookah again? Like, all day.
Wow.
All day.
That's interesting.
And a lot of times, and he actually had like a seizure. He was getting seizures, right? A couple of times based on him smoking hookah. And he made a conscious decision to stop doing it on his own. So probably for like the last 6 months, he hasn't done it. But I've seen that happen to him a lot.
Wow.
Is smoking weed, is it healthy, not healthy? Is it wear and tearing on your body? Like, because a lot of people say, I smoke weed and it's good for me. So I just want to know.
Yeah. So I handle marijuana a little bit differently because unlike cigarette smoking, marijuana does have a lot of medicinal uses. There are people with different health issues who do benefit from smoking marijuana. So I'm not as hard on people for smoking marijuana. But as with everything, it's all about risk and benefits. There are some people who benefit, but there are some studies that are coming out that are showing that marijuana is not harmless, that there are some long-term consequences of marijuana smoke, changes in the brain, changes in the lungs, that happen over time. And so whenever you decide whether or not to smoke marijuana, it really has to be one that's well thought out.
Yeah, now that they put the grabba.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And they put things in it, which I think takes away from the purity, not to mention wherever it's being grown, the purity of that and the spray and all of that other stuff. So now people are like, well, I'm just going to use edibles. And so it's kind of like we keep on moving the needle, but then every time you turn around, something is wrong with everything. Go ahead. You can respond to that and then go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, even using edibles, there's different issues that can develop in your gastrointestinal tract, your stomach. And a lot of these things we're just starting to learn about because 50 years ago were people using edibles, were they vaping? So we're still learning a lot about the long-term effects of doing these things.
Wow. Every day I turn my telephone on. You open up Instagram or Facebook and they say some new thing. Listerine now is on the list of cancer-causing products. How do you live, right? Like, you're the doctor. So, like, how are you surviving in the world if everything causes cancer? If the pan is scraped, then it is releasing some kind of toxins. The popcorn, they told me I can't pop popcorn in my home anymore because that's the. How does the doctor live?
I think that a lot of these studies, you have to look at the credibility of them. I think a lot of times people post these things just for clicks, just for attention. But whenever you look at the actual science, the research, the data behind these studies, a lot of that is lacking. Some of the most basic things are really what's important to us staying healthy. Things like diet, exercise, not smoking. And as far as, what kind of popcorn or what kind of, are you drinking out of plastic water bottles versus metal?
Right.
Those things are kind of minutia.
You think so?
I believe so. People have been, eating the same popcorn and drinking out of the same water bottles. Is there something there? I think that there is. I think that, microplastics should be a concern. I think that a lot of these are concerns, but you really can drive yourself crazy if you think about your toothpaste and your mouthwash and, think about all the possible things that are causing cancer or that are having an effect in your body. But if you focus on the most important things, that is what is going to make sure that you have not only a longer life, but that you have a good quality of life. So it really is important to just focus on the basics.
Are you vegan?
I was vegan in medical school for about 16 months, but no, I proudly eat meat.
See?
Pause.
People make it something like eating meat. Well, we have a friend who cut she was on her health journey and she cut beef and of course pork. I think she's still off pork, but she cut beef out of her diet, and then she started having health challenges. And the doctor told her that she's not one of those people who should stop eating beef because of the iron or the something that's in. Do you believe that? You agree with that? That for some people that's the case?
Yeah, I mean, whenever you adopt a vegan lifestyle, you have to be very careful because there are a lot of essential vitamins, essential nutrients that are in meat products. And, beef especially, it has a lot of iron in it. And so sometimes cutting it out of your diet, if you're already prone to anemia, if you already have, for women, very heavy periods, you might be missing that iron out of your diet if you're not careful to replace it or to substitute other things in your diet to make sure you have enough iron. Vegans have sometimes issues with getting enough protein. And so if you're not smart about how you are approaching the vegan lifestyle, you can miss out on a lot of nutrients.
Yeah, that sounds about right. As far as when it comes to meat, doesn't it clog a lot of your arteries?
So what's important is the amount of cholesterol in meats. And right now on my diet, I do eat beef, but I try to limit the amount of beef that I have. And I focus more on lean chicken breast, lean turkey, to try to keep my cholesterol low. What also helps with cholesterol is increasing your fiber intake. So it's important to have plenty of green leafy vegetables in your diet to also lower cholesterol.
But when you cook the vegetables, we've been told that it sort of extracts the benefits of it when you cook it. So they're saying raw. I'm not getting ready to eat raw string beans. Then some people say salad has no nutritional value. So I try to find, like my salad, let me tell you what my salad is. I eat the same salad every week. I have spinach and mixed greens, which includes kale. No, excuse me. I have kale and then mixed greens, which includes spinach and some other things. I have kidney beans, red onions, egg whites, feta cheese, corn. Don't kill me on the corn. I just gotta have some taste, and cherry and plum tomatoes. So that's my and grilled chicken. That's my salad. So am I doing good?
You're doing good. That's very healthy. I mean, spinach, that's your green leafy vegetables. You have the chicken in there for protein, and the protein that you add kind of helps to keep you full throughout the day. It's a colorful salad. You have eggs, different color vegetables. That is a healthy lunch.
What would you add to it?
What would I add to it? Now, do you have dressing on your salad?
Yeah, I'm a creamy Italian person.
Okay. Yeah, some dressings have a lot of calories, and when you look at the serving size of the dressing, it'll be like 100 calories in just 1 tablespoon. And how many tablespoons are we putting on our salad? Sometimes the added toppings like bacon, eggs, the meats, those can really add up. And sometimes salads can have more calories and more fat than had you had a cheeseburger. So it's important to look at not only the salads, but the toppings that are on top of it as well.
You go, and then I got my last question, but go ahead. This is my thing here.
Is Ozempic healthy for these people that's taking it?
Oh, my God.
The Zempi.
My son.
I want to know about the Zempi.
That's such a controversial issue. I've talked about that a lot on my social media. So here's the thing. Whenever you are obese, you are at risk of having a lot of different medical conditions. Obesity, there's what we call comorbid conditions, meaning if you have obesity, you're more likely to have things like diabetes, congestive heart failure, sleep apnea. And so if you can lose weight, then you can reduce your chances of getting those other medical conditions. And so for a lot of people, being on Ozempic improves their quality of life and their lifespan because it helps you to prevent having those conditions. Whereas there are some people who are able to lose weight through diet and exercise, but just don't have the stick-to-itiveness, who don't have the discipline. And it's a balance, and it's a conversation that is a tough one, but it's a balance that I think that every person should have with their doctor, as far as, is it right for me to take Ozempic or not? I was looking at some statistics from the CDC. If your lifespan is reduced by, depending on how obese you are. Let me see. I think by being obese, it lowers your lifespan by about 6 to 7 years. Morbidly obese, you can reduce your lifespan by about 10 years. And so Ozempic may be making people live a little bit longer.
Wow. So you okay with
you with the Ozempic?
I mean, my first choice is diet and exercise, healthy lifestyle. But for some people who just can't lose weight, or who might need just an extra boost, who might need to lose some pregnancy weight, I think that it can be good for those people.
Okay, so now this is my question. Well, thank you for saying that, but I'm kind of on the same track, which is you as an anesthesiologist, all the people who are having the surgeries, the everything. I mean, breasts, the tummy tucks, the BBLs, which we know, at least we are learning that you can have a successful BBLs, but there's some challenges, some serious stuff that's happening. I mean, there's this video out there that is there's so much controversy over this young woman saying that her BBL, her sit down, had a smell. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen that one.
And everybody's arguing that she's lying because there's nothing wrong with my BBL. It doesn't smell. And she's like, how y'all gonna tell me what happened to me? There was a wound that obviously didn't heal properly, and it smelled. So that's kind of crazy. Not what I was going to ask you. But some people have multiple surgeries, right? You go back, you get this, you get that, different things. I know folks who started with breast, went to tummy tuck, then may have, wanted to do a fat replacement in the arms and whatever. How many anesthesia appointments or how many times is too many times to keep getting anesthesia?
I wouldn't say there's a limit as far as how many times, but what I would say is that every time that you undergo surgery, every time you undergo anesthesia, that is a risk. And so the more surgeries you have, the more times you're putting yourself at risk. And so, I do, and I have done different cosmetic procedures, mommy makeovers, gastric bypass, tummy tucks.
You do this? You do that?
I worked with a plastic surgeon in Peoria, Illinois, and people would fly in from around the country because he was such an amazing plastic surgeon. And it's kind of fun to do those cases because that these people, it's purely elective, and you're trying to make sure that you keep them happy. But it's not about a limit as far as how many anesthetics you can have, but every time you do go under the knife, you are at risk. And we've seen people like Joan Rivers, Kanye West's mom, who unfortunately have had really bad outcomes. So the decision to have surgery should not be taken lightly at all. And I want to say this too, whenever you're looking for a plastic surgeon, you want to look at their credentials, not just word of mouth, not just social media, what they're posting on Instagram, but you want to make sure your plastic surgeon is board certified. And you want to look at their record to make sure you're getting a good plastic surgeon who has a reputation of delivering good outcomes safely.
How do you find out if they killed a bunch of people? No, I'm just joking. But I mean, I do want to know, because saying that the doctor killed the person is not really accurate, because it depends on the person's medical history and this and that and the third. But nonetheless, there is something to be said about doctors, plastic surgeons who've had a number of fatalities, on the table. So how do you find that out? Where do you go?
Yeah, so my advice is once you have the doctor's name to go to the medical board, you can go to the plastic surgeries, the plastic surgeons medical board, and you can look up their license and see what the record is. I'll have to send you guys the website for that. There's one specifically for plastic surgeons.
Okay. Well, thank you. Because, I'm 45. Some things need to be fixed up because stuff is just not. Let me tell you, after a certain age, and my son's going to argue. Like the other day, I was trying to tell him, like, I am fat and I'm trying to work on it. He's like, you worked out 3 times in 2 months and you got the nerve, and then trying to cut back on the food. I understand. In fact, I took Monjero for 3 weeks, and the first thing that happened to me, and it really worked. It stopped me from having sugar cravings, because sugar is my Achilles heel. Like, that is the thing that if I'm gonna die for something, it's gonna be sugar. And I don't eat cakes. I like cereal. I like ginger ale, and now they want to tell you ginger ale is not good for you. I have to have ginger ale twice a day. That's the thing for me. So, but anyway, I took Monjero. It was going well. And then I lost my whole butt. And as soon as my booty went down to a flat pancake, I said, y'all can take this Monjero back. I don't want it. No, thank you. But I can see the benefits. So I get people with all of these things. But as I'm getting older, one of the things I realize is that working out, eating well, doing all of that, it does not remove the fat from certain places on a woman's body. You can work out, you can do all of it, but there are still pockets and places that it feels like no matter what you do, that it just doesn't get there. The Monjero didn't. Because, by the way, the reason why I took it for 3 weeks, because I'm obviously a pretty small person, the reason why I took it was because my stomach is like a tire track. So around the back and the sides of my stomach, and it didn't care. The Monjero did nothing for that. I'm a Pilates freak. I love Pilates. Nothing for that. It just, none of this stuff works for that area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, spot training and spot fat loss. It's very difficult. Like you said, people gain weight and lose weight in different areas. And there are a lot of reports with Mounjaro and the other weight loss drugs that it's kind of the areas where people lose weight. Sometimes it's not very desirable. People lose a lot of face fat that makes them look a little bit older. I had never heard of losing fat on your bottom, but it makes sense.
It happened to me. But thank you so much, Dr. Singleton. We appreciate you for coming and talking with us. We need a monthly check-in.
Yeah, we gotta get a check-in, man, because I just want to, I need the regimen just to stay young.
Okay.
The complete stay young. I don't want to get old. My eyesight get bad. I'd be like, no way.
You pretty healthy though.
I'm pretty healthy. I work out. Like, how many times a week should we be working out when you in your upper 40s?
Upper 40s. This man is hilarious.
Upper 40s.
That's a good question. Everybody has to work out, and not just doing cardio, not just getting steps, but actually doing resistance training. My mom just turned 64 recently, and she still lifts weights. It's important that as we age, every year after 40, you're losing muscle mass. And so if you're not lifting weights, if you're not doing things like gardening or sit-ups or push-ups, you're losing muscle mass, you're losing bone mass, your bones are becoming weaker. And so it's important to stay active. The CDC has put forth guidelines as far as how much we should be working out. I forget the exact amounts, but it's important to do both strength training and cardio to stay healthy.
Before you go, let me ask you this last question. When do the men start becoming impotent? Because that starts, I hear a lot of women, they don't talk about it publicly, but they're in marriages or relationships and they start saying things are not working like it used to. And it seems like women increase in our libido, and then men start going in the opposite direction.
Yeah, that's different for every guy. As we get older, our arteries get stiffer, and the circulation is not the way that it used to be as whenever we were younger. And also as men, sometimes obesity can also affect your ability, your performance in the bedroom. So things like obesity, heart disease.
He's so professional. Your performance, like we say, stay up around here, Doc.
So what things should men be taking that's healthy to keep your arteries and things like that clear?
Good question.
Yeah. So like you said, eating plenty of vegetables, green leafy vegetables to lower your cholesterol, getting plenty of protein. You're in the gym exercising, that boosts your testosterone, which helps with performance as well. Those are the most important things. Healthy diet, healthy exercise, and also a healthy body weight to improve your testosterone levels as well. And if you are having issues with impotence, that might be a good opportunity to bring your husband or bring your boyfriend to the doctor because he can help not only with treatment for the impotence, but also can potentially help with lifestyle modification to make just the overall health picture better.
Well, there's the promo for this show.
Yeah, go on, get yourself together, man.
That's gonna be the promo for this
I don't have
show.
none of
Like
these
the
issues.
men,
I'm just asking for the
when
other
do
people.
the men become impotent? That's what I want you to put up as the promo. Thank you so much, Dr. Singleton. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Appreciate you, King. Listen, man gave you the performance.
Man, it's not just about performance.
It is,
like
if you're trying to perform.
Yeah, but I would imagine
if you're
that
impotent, you can't perform.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that impotence has to be like something else in your life that's impacted. It's not just sexual, right? Like, don't you need that thing to work a certain way to pee in the right direction?
Impotence is about performance.
Oh, okay.
Because you pee when you gotta pee.
Man, I'm mad the doctor's gone, and now I'm standing there talking to you.
But it's about your prostate. All those things, they play a role. If your prostate is clogged up or it's not healthy, like that, those things have to do with when you pee. If you dripping and all those things, you're in large prostate. So a lot of those things about how you eating, like he said, green stuff. You making sure that your colon is clean, making sure your arteries are flowing, blood is flowing through your arteries. Exercising increases your testosterone. People got sea moss. All these things that they say contributes to your performance.
I'm gonna just
the man out here trying to perform.
I'm gonna just be done with this conversation.
I mean, the man's performance.
Well, I'm just telling you. I know a lot of women who are married or with men who are, especially approaching 50 or 50 years old, and they're like, it ain't the same.
Sometimes it's the woman.
What do you mean?
Sometimes the women are not doing the things necessary for the man to perform.
Yeah, but I don't think it's that. I don't think in this situation
but
that's not what I'm talking about. But you can't say in this
situation because you don't know what's going on in that man's head. The woman is coming to you saying, yo, he ain't doing this. It's just like, you ever seen Poetic Justice? And he was talking, she's like, yo, you can't get high. He said, it's you, man. You always got negative. I could be with somebody else all beautiful and this, and then when it's with you, it don't work. Because sometimes the woman create a level of stress, a mind thing. It's not an environment for that. So sometimes it's maybe he's having a physical issue that's medical, but sometimes it's mental.
Like I had said, okay.
Performance.
I just want to be done with this because I'm trying to be serious and you being funny. What I am saying is that it is not just the woman, okay? They want to and they struggle for various reasons. And by the way, a lot of the same women, once they get to be about 50 years old, their libido is increased. Like they are more sexual, they have more stamina, and they want to have sex more often than they did when they were younger. And then it's like an imbalance. Like it's not. It seems, and I'm not saying this for all people, because of course I have friends that are married they are having the best sex of their lives, because I think there is an age where it's kind of like it crosses together. But those people are pretty healthy. When I think about it, and as I'm thinking of the friends that I have that are 50 years old that are married, they definitely are much healthier, and they're always on vacation. They always working out, and they love it. They love to tell you flat out, yep, and we having sex. They love to say that. So I guess health has something to do with it.
Health has everything to do. Mind state, mental health, physical health, all those things contribute to, your performance.
Your performance. Good night. Thank you, my son.
So for my, I don't get it. I know everybody's seen what's been going on in West Africa, in Burkina Faso, where Ibrahim Traoré, the captain and the interim president, is basically stating that he wants his sovereignty of his country. He doesn't want outside influence. He doesn't want the white settlers that have come there. He don't think they need to be there. And it's so hypocritical to me that America and France don't respect that, because you hear this president, quote unquote, America first, and we want our own stuff, but you don't want to respect the sovereignty of another country, right? And to me, it plays into race, because even when we look at this situation with the white people that they bring in from over there in Africa, saying that there's a genocide going on, when there's been going on inside of the Congo for years, a real genocide. People know that there's a genocide. And it's just so hypocritical to me that America and France has this point of view as this man is such a threat to anything, because he wants sovereignty of his own country. He wants to take back his own land. He wants his people to be independent of any outside influence, because that's what he wants. So why does America and France see that as a threat? And I just don't get it. I get it, but I don't get it, because the common sense of it doesn't make common sense. But what I get is, whenever Black people want to do something for their own people, whenever we're trying to rise and we're building our own, and we come back to, Pan-Africanism, when we do about doing Black first, that is a threat to the settlers' mindset, because they can no longer impose their will inside of these countries and colonize. So it really has been bothering me. And I shout out to Ibrahim Traoré. I love him. I love his energy, because in order to have a revolution, in order to grow, in order for Black people to actually get where we're supposed to go, it's going to require people who are willing to sacrifice their lives. He's been threatened. There have been, attempts on his life already, and he stands firm. And he said he embraces the reality. He said, they say, what about this person? He tried to do what you would do and he was killed. What about this person? He tried to do what you would do. He was locked up. He was this and that. And he said, that's what comes with it. I embrace the reality that they're going to make attempts on my life, and they might actually do it one day. But we can't live in fear. There's nothing that we've ever gained in this world that was won because we lived in fear. There's nothing wrong with being fearful, but you're supposed to use that fear as the power to continue to move on. So I appreciate him, and I just don't understand why America and France just don't mind their business.
Well, I don't have anything to say to that, because like you said, you get it, but then we don't get it. So it is what it is. I mean, I've been, reading and watching and learning a little bit about that situation. If people do not know what my son is talking about, you should absolutely go and do your research, because this is one of those moments in history where we will be able, if you know anything about history, we'll have an opportunity to learn and watch history play out in real time, because what they are attempting to do to this man and to his nation is to suppress it, as they have any other place around the world where people of African descent or people with dark skin are located. And that is to ensure that those nations represent their interests and bow to the what is it called? The monarchies and the oligarchies of our world. And, I think, like you said, they're doing a good job there of putting it on mainstream and putting it in the face of the people. And so many, I've watched all these podcasts and shows and news clips here and there where people are talking about what's happening, which is helpful to that nation, because when you put it on Front Street, it's harder for them to do the things that they want to do, right? But what I do notice is that the media is now trying to drag him. This is what they do every single time. That's why I'm saying, if you don't know history, go back and study, because what you will see, what you will notice, and it was done to Nelson Mandela, and it has been done over and over and over again to any Black or any African or anybody of dark skin who decided to say that we no longer want the rule of particularly Europe. Excuse me. Hello, we don't want the Queen and again the monarchy to run our nation. Anytime that happens, the first thing they do is start to demonize and strip the leader of such revolution of their self-respect and of their dignity before the press. They want to demonize you. They want to make people say they want to stay away from you. And as they do that, it makes it much easier for other folks to sort of it makes it easier for them to go in and impose their will, because at that point, most of us are running away to doing the same exact thing in Gaza. The same thing. They want to demonize the people. They want you to think that you're going to be called, a lover of a terrorist group, that you are you are full of hate, and you support hate, and you support the murder of Jews, or you are anti-Semitic. That is the language that will be used about you if you choose to speak up about what's happening in Gaza or to Palestinians in general. I was just told that Microsoft has now made it is banned where their internal emails, you can't use the word genocide. I think you can't say Gaza. It was a few different words that have recently been banned, which are all words that relate to what is taking place in that part of the world. And so, our dear brother Charlemagne did a long piece the other day about these two young people who were killed at the Israeli embassy in DC just a few days ago. And he talked about how what goes on in the world impacts us right here in America. If we think that we're just going to say, well, that's over there, that has nothing to do with me, you are mistaken. That what takes place over there impacts the political environment here. And that political environment could turn into a violent environment when people get to the point where they feel like their voices are not being heard in other ways. And we definitely do not want to see a lashing out of, a killing of any people. We don't want to see innocent bystanders and people, being gunned down on our streets in America or anywhere else in the world. And at the same time, we don't want to see little girls, babies, children, fathers, mothers, anybody dying in fires and bombings, being starved to death, being really exiled, and a genocide taking place where people are losing their lives and losing any sense of their culture and the place where that belongs to them. We don't want to see that happening either.
We sure don't, man. And that brings us to the end of another episode of the TMI Show. We appreciate all of the love that you've been showing. Our following is growing faster. Continue to follow us. Let us know what you want to hear, what guests you want us, what topics you want to tell us you love us, tell us you hate us. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at TMI_show. And then or you can follow us on YouTube at TMI Show PC. We love you. We appreciate you. I'm not going to always be right. Tamika D is not going to always be wrong, but we will both always, and I mean always, be authentic.
Peace.